So, I recently went out to the bookstore and bought a couple books and then some, one online. But I'm just gonna show them off today, as they're like, I've just been reading books. Well, just studying, using books really. I'm not really too much into narrative novels. But that's just because I haven't found anything as interesting as, my days in like middle school and stuff like that. It was like the popularity of like those teen novels, like The Divergence, Hunger Games, stuff like that. Back then, that was really good. Then, like, if I try to read that now, that shit's so boring. But yeah, so let's go over these books I bought, and I can go over the prices too. So as a quick overview, I got this one, and then I got this one, and then these two. So, Machinery Handbook Guide to the Use of Tables and Formulas, the second edition companion. Engineering Circuit Analysis. Introductionary DC/AC Electronics, second edition. Mathematics and Calculus with Applications, and The Art of Electronics. These two I got from the store, and then I got this one off of Amazon because I've been wanting it since I started my electrical kind of like obsession. You see, they're all kind of related to that. I mainly wanted these as a combination to study and to learn, like do my own independent study before I start like going out formally to learn. I've been studying online resources for DC AC stuff, but I just want like a concrete source. I can just like refer to this again because I've been referring to different sources and the way they teach certain things is like different, and it's pissing me off. And this is a more in-depth, like technical version of like, it's like a continuation of this. Well, not directly, but like in like the subject matter. And this is like this and this, but like specifically tailored for self-study. But there's differences in like exactly what the subject matter is, their intent, and the years they came out. So let's just go through them. I'm not gonna go like in depth. I'm just gonna like go over what they actually are specifically for, and there's stuff I noticed when I flip through them. Start with the small one. So this one, as you can see again, Machinery Handbook Guide to the Use of Tables and Formulas, second edition companion. So here's the ISBN, the number, the international book number, whatever the fuck, if you want to ever refer to it. I mean, you can just probably look it up, but it doesn't really matter. So this one cost me, I still have the receipt. This one cost me $5 at a store called Half Price Books, where it's all like used books. You can donate, or they'll pay for it. I think they buy from you, and then they're more accessible for the community to read older books. Now the issue with this one, I just kind of saw it, and so it's $5. I was like, oh, this looks cool, and I flipped through it. I was like, oh, look at all these diagrams and all the formulas. Like, this looks very awesome. Like, it's all looked very technical. And the formulas looked relatively easy. It's for, like, I could tell it's for machining, obviously, at the top, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But then I bought it. I came home, and then I was going to read what they say specifically. First thing is, this book is copyright 1984. So, 5th printing of this. I think that's what that means. And then I read the purpose of the book. It has the first like chapter-ish. And it says in the second paragraph, one purpose of this book, which is based upon Machinery's Handbook, is to show by example solutions and test questions that typical applications to handbook matters in both drafting rooms and machine shops. Another function is to familiarize engineering students or other handbook users with the contents. A third book is to provide test questions and drill work that will enable the handbook user through practice to obtain the required information quickly. So, in a sense, this is a companion book to a different book, which also has a third book. So I realized it's not going to be the most useful to me. And when I searched up online, a lot of the people were saying that's good information. It's just kind of outdated in this day and age, because I believe they may be on the 50-ish edition, I believe. And that one more refers to like CNC machines, which is the way most machine shops work now. You don't really have to do this math anymore. Like on the table, you just kind of program it into the computer, and the computer does all the formulas, to get these desired shapes and whatnot. I mean, you still reference for this. They're saying it's good reference for like older shops and stuff like that, where they have older machines. But as a whole, as like an independent book on its own, it's okay. I think it's gonna be okay. I may donate it somewhere else, or I'll see, maybe I have a use for it later on. But at the moment, I don't think it'll be that cool. Well, not cool, but like imperative for me to have in comparison to the other ones. But I think there's still interesting formulas here, and there's still like practice problems that I could still reflect to. Or if I ever decide to, I could get the main manual, the actual machinery handbook, and then reference that. But it's okay. It's a small book, $5 again, so it's not like a major thing, right? The next one, this one is what I've actually have been reading. The cover, it did come with the cover. This is not what the book traditionally comes with, I believe. And I didn't. What do you call it? I didn't take it off because I was like, fuck it, just keep it. So, Engineering Circuit Analysis by William H. Hart Jr. and Jackie Kimberly with an E. And so, this one was even cheaper. This was $4. Well, $3.99, but it's a third edition. And then these guys are professor of electrical engineering from Purdue University, and this is Jackie is the professor of engineering, chairman of the Division of Engineering, California State University. And this copyright is this one is one of the older books. It is 1978, if you can see that. So the subject matter is kind of old, and I think the information is still correct, because that's like the really interesting thing about electronics, that the basis of it hasn't really changed. Our fundamental understanding is still relatively the same, but like obviously they're not going to reference like advancements like what's it called? Well, I don't actually think they mention. Well, yeah, they do, like MOSFETs and stuff. But here's my bookmark where I was reading. Some of these questions are kind of hard. Well, for me, as I'm getting back into it, it's a bit difficult. So, like, I did read this initial preface, which is really good to understand how the book works. So, let me read the first paragraph. This book is intended for use with a first course in electrical engineering. In many colleges and universities, such course will be preceded or accompanied by an introductory physics course in which the basic concepts of electricity and magnetism are introduced, most often from the field aspect. Such a background is not a prerequisite, however. Instead of several of the requisites based concept of electricity and magnetism are discussed or reviewed in the first chapter. Only a basic course in the differential and integral calculus need to be considered as a prerequisite or possibly a core requisite to the reading of this book. Circuit elements are introduced and defined here in terms of their circuit equations. Only incidental comments are offered about this permeant field relationship. And then it goes on about that as like questions and stuff like that. Explains how to use the book more and blah blah blah. And then gives like a breakdown of what each chapter is. So this book covers, I like the way they phrase it, that really the first 3 sections are like for pure introduction, and like this differential calculus requirement is really only for like the later parts that you don't have to read really to get the basis understanding. And they made a good point that this is still important for many different fields to like be a part of and whatnot. So yeah. So they cover part 1. This covers like the basics, very basics, right? Like definitions of units, the resistive circuit. That's like the main section. And experimental laws in circle circuits, useful techniques of circuit analysis, and then on the next part, that's where they start getting into the more advanced things. Inductance and capacitance, source-free RL and RC circuits, application of unit step forcing functions, RLC circuits, and then part 3 is the sinusoidal analysis, so like the sine waves stuff. Phasing function, the phasor concept, steady rate response, average power and RMS values, and polyphase circuits. And then from part 4 is about compass frequencies, part 2 is 2-part networks, and then part 6 is network analysis. And then part 19 is Fourier transforms and Laplace transformer techniques, and then appendices. But yeah, this one is really good. It has like the what they call drill problems, right? Like practice problems. And a lot of the time I am mildly lost because that it is that you need to remember your calculus, and I'm like, I've been forgetting it. That's why I have the other math book to help me review some of it. But I have been using ChatGPT, which I don't like, but it is helpful in these scenarios that, you know, I'm doing the question and like I did it, but I'm not sure how I got it wrong, or if this is the correct way for me, my thought process to get to the answer. That I can, you can actually explain the steps, and for the most part, as long as you like review that the formulas are right and your initial question is correct, it's really useful. And then you can ask it. It's like having a teacher right with you that you can ask and like be more in depth with on points you're weak on. But yeah, it's older, and it does have an interesting form of writing because it's not very formal. It is these 2 professors and another professor's notes all combined together to like have like a kind of like narrative-ish talk where they explain the subject matter, but they have like jokes mixed in and stuff like that. But granted, they are like 1970-ish jokes, so they might not be the most up-to-date on certain matters, right? And then this one, Introductory DC/AC Electronics, 2nd edition by Nigel P. Cook. This one is more in line with like a traditional textbook, but I believe it even references here that it is still usable for like self-study. This one's copyrighted 1993. So it's a bit newer. And then, covers the fundamentals of electricity, DC, AC, experimentation, test equipment, troubleshooting, semiconductor devices and circuits, and then abbreviations. It's a very basic thing, right? Oh, tell me that the camera. I should do this here. But yeah. And then in-depth chapters. But yeah, it's like very, very, very basic. Formulas, has a lot of pictures, and then review questions. I think it has an answer portion at the back. Or again, you could go online to verify your questions. Then it has a calculator sequence, which I'm pretty sure this is pretty antiquated. Oh my god, I've not seen this like ever. Where they tell you exactly how to input it. I wonder what calculator they're using. But yeah, I'm also going to go over phase functions. You know, a bunch of circuit diagrams. You know, math, full solution, even more. And it is made from like the very beginning to this point, so it'll be useful, I think, for me to have a consistent source of information. You know, that it's all consistent and it's planned out in a manner that makes sense, so I don't have to do it all by myself. Because when I was doing it, a lot of it was like, oh, what does this mean? I look it up, then go down a tangent hole what this actually physically means. Go on like Wikipedia articles and stuff like that. And then I'd have like a kind of base understanding, but not like a correct fundamental in relation to everything else I was learning about. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff. Let's talk about MOSFETs. I keep thinking MOSFETs are like a newer kind of thing. I'm thinking of something else. It's like a version of a MOSFET, but yeah, scientific calculator. What the heck? Oh, it's even explaining this. Wow. The electronic schematic symbols. You can see that. But yeah, that's pretty useful, and that's like a timeless thing because those symbols don't really change. They haven't changed because you still have to be able to read old ones. Oh, even digital logic gates. That's pretty useful, and it comes with the Boolean algebra, which I do also have to relearn. The sound spectrum. Wait, what the fuck? Overview of frequency spectrum. Okay, this is a bit more in depth. The very low frequency band, and then the high frequency band, medium frequency band, ultra high frequency, very high frequency, extremely high frequency, super high frequency. Then the optical spectrum. Oh, and here are the answers to the self-test parts. It's a decent amount. What? Really? What kind of textbook had parts for notes? That's crazy. Actually, I didn't see what university or group this is from. I don't think I read that. This is doesn't really say. It would be in this first section. No preface, I guess. Oh yeah, these are all the authors. Personal acknowledgement, supplementary. Oh yeah, there's like supplementary packs. Like additional stuff you can use. Textbooks, features, blah blah blah. And then he goes over like all the things. It's the students. Let's see. So you're working with this National Education Center guy, San Diego Training Center, Community Elbcombe Community College Rankin, Missouri Technical School, Tech College in Kokomo, all of Los Angeles training centers, IET, Electrical Institution, Dallas, Texas, Lincoln Technical Institution, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all of the National Education Centers, Little Rock, Arkansas, National Education Centers. There are a lot of people from like community colleges from all over. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's this book. And then we have people's favorite subject matter, I assume. I have another one, but I think it's more like base algebra, I think. But this is Mathematics and Calculus with Applications by Margaret L. Leanne and Charles D. Miller. Sorry, everything on my computer is like dying right now. Oh my god. I don't always play music. Second edition. And then formulas on this initial page. American River College. Preface. The revised edition of Mathematics Calculus with Applications is designed to be useful to students and helpful for the instructor. For the student, we have written a textbook with explanations and examples that are clear, direct, and to the point. The exercises are carefully graded in difficulty with examples corresponding to the exercise. Abundant applied problems and extended applications show students how mathematics is used in job scenario situations. For the instructor, we have produced a comprehensive instructional package. So I guess you would have to have that. Matches standard course. Represents the topic of a one-year course in finite mathematics and calculus for students majoring in management, social sciences, or life science. This book can also be used for separate courses in finite mathematics and calculus. The prerequisite is a 3 to 4 semester of high school algebra or equivalent. For the students who may not have started algebra recently, an algebra review is included at the beginning of the book. The review can be discussed on the level in class or left for reference as desired. So yeah, they have an initial thing, which is very good for people like me. You know. So yeah, I haven't done actual like full-blown algebra in like a while. And I do have another book to refer to that. And the acknowledgements, let's see. Western Michigan University of Washington, Florida State, Ball State, University of Wisconsin, East Tennessee. The only issue I do have, I didn't realize until I just read that, is that it's aimed at management, social sciences, and life science like readers, but that's not really what I'm studying. So I'm just used to more like technical definitions, and that's it's part of this subject matter of like probability and stuff like that. But like, I don't know. I'd have to be in more depth. I don't think probability is as applicable in electronics to my current understanding. Let's see what it goes over. It goes over review of algebra, functions, graphs, systems of linear equations and matrices, linear programming, geographical method, linear programming, the simplex method, sets and counting, probability, statics and probability distributions, Makarov chains and decision theory, mathematics and finance, the derivative, applications of the derivative, exponential and logarithmic functions, integration, further techniques and applications of integration, functions of several variables, and probability in calculus. And as the other book mentioned, I need a background in differential calculus, which it seems this might not have go too far in depth with, which I'll have to get a different book for, or a different study source. But yeah, it seems like a traditional, like, mathematics textbook. But, you know, I was thinking back on it, in like high school, like near the end of high school is near the end of my time in high school, I didn't get issued like a calculus book, like a book anymore. It was just all for my teacher. But I don't know if that was just me or that was at the time. That was like during COVID, you know. I was one of those people, unfortunately. I graduated during that time. But yeah, it's all simple, like explanations and followed by multiple examples, matrices. I like to vaguely remember some of this. Just these probability stuff, I don't recall. I don't think we went too far into it. Because it just wasn't... They're like, oh, you'll just do it in college. You know, you'll take this class anyways. They're going to make you anyways. Doesn't matter. I'm like, he's right. They were right. But... now I'm stuck trying to recover, but that's my own fault for not continuing on studies as I should. And then, this important. It is important for, like, especially if they see it, for AC power sources. Examples, exercises, and then going over examples. There's not much you can really do, right? They teach you the rule, and then they have to give you examples for you to, like, get used to it. Definition derivative of tangent lines. Stuff like that. Yeah, that's all it is. But that's this book. And now for the book I'm actually, like, I think I'll read this after this other book I read. I might skim through this if I get bored. Just at home. The Art of Electronics. When I looked up initial resources to start learning electronics, this was recommended as, like, one, but the caveat was that this is extremely technical, but that even without, like, if you're not going to get too much into that, it's still a good source for a lot of information, and it just looks, it's beautiful, like, the way it demonstrates stuff. So this is The Art of Electronics by Paul Horowitz, Winfield Hill. I didn't tell you the prices of these ones. Math Calc was $10 and the DC one was $8. This one is usually like $100 and something, but I got it off of Amazon on sale for like $70, $80, I think. It's the 3rd edition improved. So now this one is an updated version. These are the guys from Harvard, and this other guy's from Roland Institute at Harvard, which are, like, all Harvard graduates, and I don't know if they're professors, and then published by Cambridge University Press. So the original copyright was 1980, and this version's from 2015. So it's gone quite a bit. And this is the 21st printing with corrections in 2024. So this is still very up to date, relatively. No, it is. It's literally from last year. So it's pretty good. And then it's a lot of subject matters, like your foundation, and then, like, all 3 prefaces. And actually, this one's like 1,000 and something pages. But yeah, you see, it's quite technical with the information, with a lot of charts and graphs and references. Lamps, LEDs. This is Surf and Mount Technology, the joys in the pain. Emitters, followers. Zoom this in. Okay, I think that's focused. Okay, but yeah, it's quite information dense. It's just strange, like the 2.8, and then it goes into this, and then it talks about this, and it talks about that. I think the structure is a bit different than what I'm used to, but I think it's still very, it's almost like a picture book, right, with all the information it's giving out, intermixed with actual text. The only thing, I think it is also a mixture of, like, of other professors' notes that they asked at the time to, like, they could contribute while they're writing it, and, like, they could add and join in. But this one lacks, I think, like a traditional textbook, like questions for readers to answer and stuff like that, unless they're hidden in here somewhere. But from what I've read, I don't think there's anything like that. So, circuit MOSFET piezo power drive. Oh, you can even see it at the bottom of this page. Boom. Or this one, it's just a ambient light control power switch. Bipolarity of current sourcing. Summoning amplifier. So it truly is the art of electronics, right? Like, I think that's what I always keep thinking back to, is that it is art of like the drawings and the concepts and stuff like that. Like, and then reviews. It's like a lot of pages, like a lot of information. I would like to get through, at the very least, half of it, the like introduction sections, and then ideally in the future, as I continue my studies, come back and refer to this for like information like the battery choices. It states like all the different kinds of batteries you can have. You know, primary non-chargeable 9-volt batteries made of carbon, zinc, alkaline, magnesium oxide. I think that's what MO2 is. I think that's magnesium. I hope. Then comments or graphs and stuff. Monostable multi-vibrator. What? Programmable logic devices. I think it speaks about like chips and stuff. What the heck? Like, look at that. It's page wide. What is this? The hardware. The logic array of a classic 22V10 PAL, programmable and fixed, or the output macro so can be programmed as a type D flip-flop or a simple pass-through. See the figure 11.04, adapted from the Lattice ISP GAL 22V10 data sheet at Lattice Semiconductors Corporation 2004. So it's something. And for me, this is like, I've just, again, recently got into electronics and electrical stuff, because it is, you know, the basis of our modern world. Like, without this kind of information and this kind of studies, we couldn't live the way we currently do. I couldn't record this video. I couldn't reach to you. Like, it reaches all spans of I think of any sort of engineering STEM field. That even if it doesn't indirectly relate to it, it influences you or supports you, right? But it really is like that saying that we made rocks think. I really always like to think back to that we have gone through so much, and just even get into like the microprocessors and like those kinds of like information architecture for like computer chips and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really incredible. Oh my god, this is true random noise generators. I wonder, it doesn't even say the chapter. Oh, there is additional extras for chapter 13. Oh, but there's like very minor. I guess the people that are reading this probably don't need it. Extra problems. USB. the Arduino project. Oh, it even talks about Arduinos. Microcontroller code. Hardware. Arduino. Theven's theorem. And then you get to the acronyms. The television. The oscilloscope. This is the fucking. This is the end. This is the page. But yeah, it really is incredible. The amount of information you can get. I'm sure you can get this for free. I just wanted to have it in person stuff. I want to stop being that guy that just buys books and not reads them. So hopefully I could read them. I'll go through and actually observe the content and have it useful to me in my day-to-day life. But yeah. But other than that, that's all I really wanted to share today. I might get more books in the future, but we'll see. We'll see. And then share it with you guys. If you have anything else, any other ideas I could have. I've been thinking about reading maybe. I could read in my bed some of my older, fiction books. There's a little reading time. I thought about that, but I'll have to think about how I'll do the setup and stuff like that. But I ordered a new camera. It'll come next week, and I'm excited to share that. It'll be a surprise, but yeah, what it really is, what it'll look like. Yeah, that's all I got. So I'll hope this was relaxing at least, or if you're asleep, I hope you have a good night or a good rest of your day, whatever it may be.